Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to, create a security group. The first aspect towards this is basically having a security group created. Now, this is to ensure that we have a communication between our, Kubernetes cluster members. So we have not created any kind of, Kubernetes clusters or any of the machines right now. So this machine is not running. It's not there anymore because I've terminated that in the previous section. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create the security group, which is required for us to communicate between the Kubernetes node and the worker nodes. Now, what port numbers are we going to use? So this is something which we already discussed, and this is some architecture we have seen in the previous video. This port numbers which we're going to allow for the inbound connection to the control plane, and these are the port numbers we're going to allow in terms of inbound connection to the compute plane. So the compute plane will have a security group separately, which will be mounted on top of the compute plane. And the control plane will have its own security group, which will be mounted while we create this instance on the control plane. Now, this is the major reason why we are, or I am expecting you to create a new instance rather than using the existing one so that we can make these amendments in terms of the configuration. Let's go ahead and create these instances right now. And before we do that, in this video, we are going to create the security groups. And then the next video, we will create the actual, instance creation by mapping these security groups. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So log into your AWS console, and then you can search for security groups from here, or security groups is already part of your EC2 dashboard. So it's on the network and security, you're going to have something called security group. Now, what I'm going to do is I have a lot of security groups over here. So I'm just going to select them and delete these security groups except for the default one. These are created based on the permissions which I've created here. So it's asking me to say delete and then hit enter. So now I'm just deleting the security group. I don't want to see this security group at this moment because I'm going to create a security group for myself. So let's create two security groups. First one is about your control plane security group. So I'm just going to name it as SG as in security group -control -plane. So this is going to be exclusively for the control plane. So this is to allow inbound connections from the data plane, or you can say compute plane. So you can either call it the data plane or a compute plane. So that's completely up to you. Now VPC will be created on that, on whichever the connection that you're using. So there it will be created, that VPC. So just it is automatic over here. So just leave it as it is. Now here on the rules, right? So you can see inbound rules, there's nothing over here. So you have to add these rules. In terms of outbound rules, you can see traffic to everything is allowed. So outbound is fine, but then inbound should be also accepting some traffic because by default, inbound will be blocking everything which is coming inside. So that's pretty much we want to give over here. So add multiple rules over here so that you don't have to do this. Now you can go back to the architecture and you can see that the EC2 control plane needs to have these many inbound rules. The first one being for the API service or your API server, we need to add that particular inbound group over here. So let's go ahead and add it one by one. We will start by adding, of course, the SSH one because it is not going to create by default. So you need to add the SSH over here, which is the port number 22, and it's going to be on TCP. So you have option of selecting UDP as well, but you can just select custom TCP, that's all right. And then here you can select any IP version 4, so that's pretty much allows everything. So this is for SSH traffic. And then in terms of the next one is about the port numbers which we have defined over here. I'm sorry, those Linux is those penguins are playing on the Linux thing, so that's a screensaver. So let's start adding one by one. So let's you can select it. I'm selecting it. I will put it on the document as well, so you can select it from there, and you can just type it, or else it's like pretty much default stuff. So now here you can, rather than giving this particular IP address, you can actually give something like a custom IP address range. So we know that by default, Kubernetes is going to choose the 172.31.0.16 CIDR. So that's the default choice of Kubernetes. So we will select this for all our items over here. So that's something which is common. So that's pretty much we have selected across all these things. Now slowly we will start giving in all those details. Now let's configure the second one over here. Sorry. Ignore the waiver as of now. Wave as of now. Wave is the network, so we will be configuring that later point of time. Ignore these two words. I'll explain you later, and we will add that on the later point of time. So it's not something which you need to do right now. So the next one is adding all these port numbers. So I've added like 2379. So that is added. So I'm gonna add 10250. So that one, and 1057, 1059. So rather than adding them individually, I will give 10250 and hyphen 10259. So that's the end of it. So everything between this port number will be open by default, so you don't really need this. So this is pretty much what we want to add as part of our configuration. And the outbound is basically your Linux server, which is going to be created as part of the EC2 instance, will be connecting to the outside world. We don't want to restrict the traffic, or else you will have problem connecting to the external world or downloading any of the update it requires to update itself, or download any of the packages. It's going to have a problem. So here tag env is testing, and then you can add another tag of app name. So that's going to be testing as well. So this is going to be like that. And so this is pretty much what we want to call it as SG control plane. So this is going to be our first security group, in which we are customizing the communication, the inbound traffic. We have added SSH over here, in which we want to allow SSH from anywhere. And then these 3 port numbers, one for your API server, and then other things as well. So API server, I would recommend you to give anywhere. So sorry about that, I didn't notice it. But API server should be accessed from anywhere, so that we can also connect to 8443, because you will also connect from this server, right? So from our desktop to the server. So that is one thing. That's why I wanted to go over one more time. So you're going to give anywhere with IP version 4, and you're going to give it as 0.0.0. So sorry about that. So this should be all traffic. Okay, so this is going to be like, yeah, so complete traffic or anywhere. So that needs to be mentioned over here, or else you will have problem connecting from your system to this 6443 port number, because it does not allow from that from your IP range. So that's one problem. So you just give it as anywhere. That should resolve all your problems. And this is pretty much I want to talk about over here. And let's click on create the security group over here. Now, in terms of the outbound, let's just leave it as it is. So there's nothing much here. A security group name cannot be begin with SG hyphen. Okay, there's a restriction over here that you cannot actually have this kind of SG hyphen cannot be, because there is already such a variable over here. So I'm just going to call it security group hyphen control plane. So that's gonna be useful for us. So this will identify it as security group control plane. So let's just create it right now. Let's see if it's creating. All right, got created. Security group was created right now. So now next thing is that we're gonna create another security group over here. So security group hyphen compute hyphen plane. Now here, this is for allowing traffic from your control plane to compute plane. So this is going to allow the traffic from control plane to compute plane. And here we are going to create certain rules over here. So now these rules are going to be very simple with what we discussed in the architecture. So this is going to have your kubelet API, your node port number, and of course your SSH. So that's something which you should remember that we should do it. Now for SSH and kube node, it should be open to the world, just like you have given SSH for your 6443, right? So this also needs to be accessed from anywhere else, because if you want to access the API server, so you can access it from anywhere. Just like that, the node port number also should be given with all access. So that's 3 items over here as 22, which is going to be anywhere. And then another one is the 30,000 range, 30,000 to 32,000. Sorry. 32,767. So that's the range over here, and this also should be anywhere so that you can access it from outside. So just anywhere for these 2 items. And then I'm gonna specify the 10,250, and this is for your kubelet API for the communication from the scheduler to kubelet. And this is going to be a custom IP address range, which is like 172.31.0.16 CIDR. So I'm going to use that in terms of this one. So that's basically what I want to configure. I'm just having a doubt. I mean, whether did I do some 172 in the previous video? So let me just go and check it back. But then let me add the tags over here. So env dev. Testing. And then app testing as well. Now this is completed. Let's go ahead and save this particular configuration of your security group. So now this is going to be saved over here. And then let's just, and let me check that one for the control plane, which is 172. Yeah, 172.31.0. Okay, perfect. This looks perfect to me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch an instance on the next video. A security group is ready for me to do so. Thank you again for your patience and time. On the next video, we will create the instance and then we'll go about it. Thank you.